In 1947, a quiet man named Andy Dufresne stands inside a courtroom, surrounded by people who already believe he is guilty. Andy is a banker, the kind of man who wears a clean suit, speaks politely, and keeps his emotions under control. He is not the type to shout or beg or make a big scene. But that calm behavior does not help him here. In fact, it makes things worse. Andy is being accused of murdering his wife and the man she was cheating with, a golf professional. Andy tells the court that he did not kill them. He admits that he was angry and hurt, and he admits he had been drinking that night, but he says he never pulled the trigger. Still, the evidence seems strong enough for the jury, and Andy's cold face makes him look like a man with no heart. The court finds him guilty. Since the state of Maine does not have the death penalty, Andy is sentenced to 2 life sentences back-to-back, meaning he will never see freedom again. The judge's words fall like a heavy door closing forever. In one moment, Andy's entire life is erased, and the only future he has is behind prison walls. Soon, Andy is taken to Shawshank State Prison, a place with a dark reputation. Shawshank is not just a prison. It is a world built on fear, power, violence, and control. It is a place where time does not heal anything. Time only makes men weaker, quieter, and more broken. When Andy arrives, he is surrounded by loud voices, rough faces, and hard eyes. The guards treat the new inmates like animals, shouting at them, pushing them, humiliating them. The prison gates close behind Andy, and that sound is like the final confirmation that his old life is gone. Shawshank does not care who you were on the outside. Banker, teacher, father, husband, it means nothing here. Inside Shawshank, you are only a number, and your life belongs to the people who hold the keys. At the same time, we meet another man who has already spent years inside Shawshank. His name is Ellis Boyd Redding, but everyone calls him Red. Red is older, wise, and calm in a way that only comes from surviving prison for a long time. He knows how Shawshank works. He knows who to talk to, who to avoid, and how to stay alive. Red is also known as the guy who can get things. If someone needs cigarettes, a deck of cards, a small bottle, or something rare, Red is the man they go to. He has connections, he has skills, and he understands how to move through the prison system without getting crushed by it. But Red is not free. Red is serving a life sentence for murder, and even though he has been a model prisoner, he has learned not to expect mercy from the parole board. One day, Red is called into a parole hearing. He sits in front of the board and answers their questions politely. He talks about his behavior and his growth, saying the words they want to hear. But the parole board does not care. They deny him again. Red walks back into Shawshank with no anger and no surprise. He has been denied before, and he will likely be denied again. For Red, hope is a dangerous thing, and he stopped feeding it a long time ago. When you have been locked away for decades, disappointment becomes easier than dreaming. Not long after, the prison hears the sound of an alarm, meaning new inmates are arriving. This is entertainment for the prisoners, because new arrivals are always scared, confused, and weak. Red and his friends gather together and start betting on which new man will break first. They call them new fish, like they are watching fresh prey thrown into a tank. Some men cry. Some scream. Some beg to go home. Red studies the group, watching their faces and body language. He sees Andy Dufresne among them, standing quietly with a straight posture and a calm expression. Andy does not look like the others. He doesn't panic. He doesn't shake. He doesn't even look around much. Red thinks Andy's calmness is fake, and he believes Andy will break during his first night. Red places a bet on Andy. That night, the new inmates are thrown into their cells, and the fear becomes real. The prison is dark, the sounds echo, and the guards walk like predators. One overweight inmate begins crying loudly, unable to control himself. The other prisoners laugh and shout insults, enjoying his pain. The guards are not interested in comfort or patience. Captain Byron Hadley, one of the most violent guards in Shawshank, storms in and demands silence. The crying inmate cannot stop. Hadley drags him out and beats him brutally, punching and kicking him like he is nothing. The man screams until he can't scream anymore. The next morning, the inmates learn that he died in the infirmary. The prison doctor had already gone home for the night, so no one helped him. His death becomes just another normal event in Shawshank. Andy asks what the man's name was, but Haywood, one of the prisoners, mocks him and tells him not to care. Andy stays quiet, but his eyes show something deeper. He is learning quickly that Shawshank is a place where compassion is punished and weakness is destroyed. Andy begins his first days in prison doing laundry work, living in a routine that feels like slow death. The other prisoners call him strange and cold. They don't understand him. He doesn't talk much. He doesn't smile. He doesn't fight for attention. He simply exists, like a ghost walking through the prison halls. But Red keeps watching him. Red has seen all types of men come through Shawshank. He has seen tough men who fall apart. He has seen loud men who become silent. He has seen proud men who end up begging. Something about Andy feels different. Red senses that Andy has a kind of inner strength, not the strength of muscles, but the strength of mind. One day, Andy approaches Red in the prison yard. It is a risky thing to do, because talking to the wrong person can lead to trouble. Andy speaks softly and asks Red if he can get him something. Red smiles slightly, already knowing the question. Red asks what Andy wants. Andy says he wants a rock hammer, a small tool used for carving stones. Red is surprised. A rock hammer is not something most prisoners ask for. Red wonders if Andy is planning to escape. But Andy explains that he enjoys collecting rocks, studying them, and carving small sculptures. Red still thinks it sounds suspicious, but he agrees to get it. When the hammer arrives, Red sees how small it is, almost like a toy. It is not the kind of tool you could dig a tunnel with, at least not quickly. Red laughs, thinking Andy's request is harmless. Still, Red doesn't realize that Andy has just taken the first step in a plan that will take decades. Not long after, Andy asks Red for something else. He wants a poster of Rita Hayworth, a famous actress. Red is confused. Why would a man want a poster in prison? But Red can get almost anything, so he agrees. When Andy receives the poster, he hangs it on the wall of his cell like a small piece of the outside world. It is more than decoration. It is a reminder that beauty still exists somewhere beyond Shawshank. But life inside Shawshank is not kind, especially for someone like Andy. A group of inmates known as the Sisters begins targeting him. They are violent, cruel, and led by a man named Boggs Diamond. The Sisters beat Andy and sexually assault him repeatedly. Andy fights back when he can, but he is outnumbered and trapped. The prison does not protect him. The guards don't care. To Shawshank, inmates are not people. They are property. For 2 years, Andy's life is filled with pain, fear, and survival. He spends his days working and his nights trying not to be destroyed. Then, in 1949, Andy's situation begins to change in an unexpected way. A work detail is announced for tarring the roof of one of the prison buildings. It is considered a good job because it gets inmates out of their cells and into the sunlight. Red uses his influence and pull strings to get Andy and a few friends assigned to the crew. The group includes Red, Haywood, and others who have formed a small circle of friendship. Up on the roof, the air feels different. For a moment, they are not trapped inside stone walls. They can see the sky. They can feel the breeze. It is still prison, but it feels less like a cage. While working, Andy overhears Captain Hadley complaining about taxes. Hadley is angry because he received an inheritance, but the government will take a large portion of it. Hadley curses and says it isn't fair. Andy carefully steps forward, knowing that one wrong move could get him killed. He tells Hadley that there is a legal way to protect the money, and he explains it clearly. He says Hadley can make the money a one-time gift to his wife, which will reduce the taxes and keep more of it in the family. Hadley becomes furious at first, thinking Andy is mocking him or trying to act smart. Hadley threatens to throw Andy off the roof. But Andy does not back down. He stays calm, speaking like a banker who knows his facts. He tells Hadley he is only trying to help. Slowly, Hadley realizes Andy is serious. Hadley asks him questions, and Andy answers confidently. Then Andy makes a deal. He says he will help Hadley with the paperwork, but he doesn't want money. He doesn't want special treatment. All Andy asks for is that Hadley gives his fellow inmates cold beers while they work. The men are shocked. Andy could have asked for something for himself, but he doesn't. Hadley thinks for a moment, then agrees. Later, as the men sit on the roof drinking cold beer, Red watches Andy with new respect. The beer is more than a drink. It is a moment of dignity. It makes them feel like normal working men, not prisoners. Red realizes Andy is smart, not just with numbers, but with people. Andy didn't just get beer. He gains something more valuable, the attention and favor of the guards. After that day, Andy's life begins shifting. The guards start using him for financial advice. Andy helps them with taxes, paperwork, and money problems. He becomes useful, and in Shawshank, being useful can mean the difference between survival and death. The prison staff begins treating him differently. They still control him, but they see him as a tool worth keeping. Meanwhile, Andy's troubles with the sisters continue for a while. One night during a movie screening, Andy asks Red for another poster, this time Marilyn Monroe. Red finds it strange but agrees. As Andy leaves the theater, the sisters approach him again. Andy tries to talk his way out, promising he won't cause trouble. For a moment, it seems like he might escape their attack. But they still beat him brutally, leaving him nearly dead. Andy spends a month in the infirmary, broken and bruised, barely alive. Boggs gets punished with a short stay in solitary, but that punishment means nothing compared to what Andy suffered. After Andy is released from the infirmary, something surprising happens. Hadley and the guards take revenge on Boggs in their own violent way. They beat Boggs so badly that he can no longer function normally, and he is transferred to another prison hospital. After that, the sisters never touch Andy again. Andy survives. But the damage, both physical and emotional, stays with him. When Andy returns to his cell, he finds gifts waiting. Red and the others have gathered rocks for him to carve, and the poster of Rita Hayworth is hanging proudly. These small gifts mean something bigger. They show Andy that he is no longer completely alone in Shawshank. He has friends now, even in a place where friendship is rare. Soon, Warden Samuel Norton becomes interested in Andy. Norton is a strict man who carries himself like a religious leader. He speaks about God, rules, and discipline. He believes he is doing holy work by running the prison. But behind his religious words is a man who loves control and power. One day, Norton orders a surprise cell inspection, and the guards search Andy's cell violently, throwing his belongings around. Norton notices Andy reading a Bible. He speaks politely and asks Andy about scripture. Andy answers calmly. Norton seems pleased. Before leaving, Norton almost forgets to give Andy his Bible back. Then he hands it over and says something that sounds like advice but feels like a warning. He tells Andy that salvation lies within. Andy holds the Bible, but his eyes show that he understands something. In Shawshank, even the Bible can be used as a weapon. Not long after, Norton assigns Andy to work in the prison library. Officially, Andy is there to assist Brooks Hatlin, an elderly inmate who has managed the library for years. The library is small, dusty, and falling apart. But Andy sees potential. He sees a place where men can learn, dream, and escape mentally even if they can't escape physically. However, the real reason Norton assigns Andy to the library is not kindness. Norton wants Andy close because he wants to use Andy's financial skills for his own benefit. Andy becomes the man who handles money matters not just for the guards, but eventually for the warden himself. Andy also begins writing letters to the state legislature, asking for funds to improve the library. He writes every single week. The state ignores him at first. Weeks turn into months. Months turn into years. But Andy does not stop. He believes persistence is power. He believes if you knock on a door long enough, eventually someone will open it just to make you go away. And Andy is right. During this time, Brooks begins to show signs of breaking. Brooks has been in prison for most of his life. Shawshank is all he knows. One day, Brooks suddenly pulls a knife and threatens Haywood. The inmates are shocked. Brooks is not a violent man. But the truth comes out quickly. Brooks is terrified because he has been told he might be paroled soon. The idea of leaving prison scares him more than staying. Andy talks him down, calming him with words, showing compassion that most men in Shawshank have forgotten how to give. In 1954, Brooks is paroled after serving 50 years. The prison celebrates like it's a victory, but Brooks looks like a man being sent to his execution. On the outside, Brooks is placed in a halfway house and given a job bagging groceries at a supermarket. The world is loud, fast, and unfamiliar. Brooks struggles to sleep. He struggles to keep up. He feels small and useless. He misses the routine of Shawshank, even though Shawshank was a cage. Finally, unable to handle the pain of freedom, Brooks takes his own life. He leaves behind a message carved into a wooden beam: Brooks was here. His story becomes a warning to Red and the others. Prison doesn't just lock up your body. It locks up your mind. And sometimes, it locks it up forever. Andy continues building the library. After years of letters, the state finally sends him a small amount of money, $200, along with a donation of books and records. Andy is grateful, but he also knows it is not enough. Still, he works with what he has. Among the donations is a record of Mozart's The Marriage of Figaro. One day, Andy decides to do something bold. He locks himself in the office and plays the record over the prison loudspeaker system. Suddenly, the entire prison is filled with beautiful music. Men stop walking. Guards stop shouting. Everyone listens. For a moment, Shawshank is not a prison. It is just a place where human beings remember what it feels like to be alive. The music gives them something they forgot they had: a soul. But the warden and guards see this as rebellion. Andy is punished and sent to solitary confinement. Solitary is a small, dark room where time feels endless and silence becomes torture. Andy spends days alone, surrounded by nothing. When he finally comes out, Red tells him it wasn't worth it. Red believes hope only leads to pain. But Andy disagrees. Andy tells Red that hope is the only thing that keeps a man from dying inside. Andy says they can take away your body, but they can't take away what's in your head and heart. Red listens, but he doesn't fully believe it. Red has been in Shawshank too long. He has learned to survive by expecting nothing. Years continue to pass inside Shawshank, and the prison keeps moving forward like a machine that never stops. The days all look the same, but slowly, Andy Dufresne becomes one of the most important people in the entire prison, even though he is still just an inmate. His work in the library grows bigger and bigger, and because of his knowledge, more prisoners come to him for help. Some men want to learn how to read better. Some want to earn their high school diplomas. Some just want a book to escape the boredom and pain of prison life. Andy helps them all, not because he is forced to, but because it gives him purpose. He builds something meaningful in a place that is designed to destroy meaning. Over time, the library becomes a symbol of hope inside Shawshank, and Andy becomes the man who made it happen. At the same time, Andy's relationship with the prison guards and the warden becomes more complicated. Because Andy is skilled with money and paperwork, the guards depend on him. They come to him with questions about taxes, retirement, and investments. They treat him with more respect than other inmates, but it is not real respect. It is the kind of respect you give to something useful, like a tool. Andy understands this, but he also knows how to use it. He stays calm, speaks politely, and never acts arrogant. He plays the role of the helpful banker, even though he is trapped behind bars. Slowly, his clients expand beyond Shawshank's guards. Even officers from other prisons, when they visit Shawshank for baseball games or events, hear about Andy and seek him out for financial advice. Andy's reputation spreads like a quiet rumor, and soon he is known as the man who can solve problems. Warden Samuel Norton, however, is not interested in Andy's success for the right reasons. Norton sees Andy as a golden opportunity. The warden is a man who hides behind religion, quoting Bible verses and speaking about salvation, but his real love is power. Norton wants money, control, and a spotless reputation. He realizes that Andy's skills can help him build something corrupt, something that will make him rich while keeping him untouchable. Norton starts a scheme where Shawshank inmates are used as cheap labor for public projects. The warden bids for construction and repair jobs outside the prison, undercutting honest contractors because he doesn't have to pay his workers. The inmates do the work, the prison gets the contracts, and Norton makes huge profits. It is slavery dressed up as work programs. and it becomes one of the Warden's biggest sources of secret income. Andy is forced to handle the bookkeeping for this operation. He keeps records, manages accounts, and helps the Warden hide the money. The worst part is that Andy is so good at it that the scheme becomes nearly perfect. Andy creates a fake identity to protect the Warden's stolen money. The name is Randall Stevens, a person who doesn't really exist but has everything needed to look real on paper. Randall Stevens has a birth certificate, a social security number, a driver's license, and official documents. If anyone ever investigates the money, they will chase a ghost. Andy explains to Red that the Warden is laundering money, and he is the one making it possible. Andy jokes that he had to go to prison to learn how to be a crook. But behind that joke is pain. Andy knows he is trapped. He knows that Norton will never let him go, because Andy is the key to his entire corrupt empire. Red watches all of this with mixed feelings. He respects Andy, and he is grateful for what Andy has done for the library and the inmates. But Red also understands Shawshank better than anyone. Red knows that the prison doesn't reward good people. It uses them until they break. Red warns Andy sometimes, telling him to be careful. But Andy continues moving forward, because he believes that staying still is the same as dying. As the years go on, Red is called for another parole hearing. By now, he has been in prison for 30 years. When the parole board asks him questions, Red repeats the same kind of speech he has given before, but this time he doesn't even try to sound hopeful. He says the words like a man reading from a script. He knows it won't matter. The parole board rejects him again, and Red returns to Shawshank with a tired smile, as if he expected nothing else. To Red, the outside world feels like a myth. It is something he remembers from long ago, like a dream that faded. Andy tries to lift his spirit by giving him a harmonica, a small gift to mark the moment. Red accepts it, and in return, Red gives Andy a new poster, a Marilyn Monroe poster, as a way to celebrate Andy's 10 years in prison. It becomes a quiet tradition between them, these small gifts, like proof that friendship still exists in a place built to erase it. Andy's letter-writing campaign to the state continues too. Even after getting the first small donation, he refuses to stop. He keeps writing and writing and writing. Eventually, the state realizes that Andy will never quit. They finally decide it is easier to give him what he wants than to keep hearing from him. So they approve a yearly budget of $500 for the library. It isn't a huge amount, but to Andy, it feels like a victory. He expands the library, knocks down walls, opens unused rooms, and turns the place into something bigger and brighter. He fills it with books, records, and educational materials. He makes deals with charities and book clubs. He organizes everything carefully, like a man rebuilding his life one shelf at a time. He names the library after Brooks, honoring the old man who couldn't survive freedom. This is Andy's way of keeping Brooks alive, at least in memory. Andy also begins teaching inmates who want to earn their high school diplomas. Some of them can barely read. Some feel embarrassed. Some feel hopeless. But Andy pushes them gently, giving them patience that nobody else gives them. He teaches them math, reading, writing, and history. He helps them believe they can be more than criminals. In a strange way, Andy becomes a teacher, a mentor, and even a father figure to men who never had anyone to guide them. The prison doesn't like this kind of growth, but Andy keeps doing it anyway. He is quietly creating freedom in their minds, even if their bodies remain locked up. Then, in 1965, a new inmate arrives at Shawshank who will change everything. His name is Tommy Williams. Tommy is young, loud, and full of energy. He has been in and out of prison since he was 13 years old. He talks like someone who has never learned to fear consequences, and he jokes about crime like it's just part of life. When Tommy meets Andy, Andy tells him something that surprises him. Andy says maybe Tommy should stop stealing and try another path, because he doesn't seem very good at being a criminal. The comment hits Tommy hard, because deep down, Tommy knows it's true. Tommy also has a young child, and for the first time, he starts thinking about what kind of future he is creating. Tommy asks Andy to help him study for his high school equivalency diploma. Andy agrees. Tommy is not naturally patient, and studying is hard for him. He gets frustrated easily. But Andy stays calm and continues teaching him. Slowly, Tommy begins improving. He starts to believe that maybe he can do something better with his life. When Tommy finally takes the exam, he panics. He thinks he failed. In anger, he crumples up the test and throws it in the trash. But Andy, quietly and carefully, retrieves it and sends it in anyway. Andy refuses to let Tommy quit, even if Tommy quits on himself. This is the kind of hope Andy carries. It is stubborn, quiet, and powerful. Around this time, Red tells Tommy about Andy's case, about the murders Andy was convicted for. Tommy listens, and suddenly his expression changes. Tommy becomes serious and angry, like he just remembered something terrible. He tells Andy and Red that he once had a cellmate in another prison who bragged about killing a man who was a golf professional, along with his lover. Tommy says the cellmate laughed about it and said the woman's husband, a banker, took the fall and went to prison for the crime. The story matches Andy's situation perfectly. For the first time in almost 20 years, Andy has real evidence that could prove his innocence. Andy is shaken. He feels hope rising in his chest, a hope so strong it almost hurts. He goes straight to Warden Norton and tells him what Tommy said. Andy believes that if the warden helps him, they can reopen the case, bring Tommy as a witness, and prove Andy didn't do it. Andy even promises Norton that if he is released, he will keep the money laundering secret. Andy offers the warden a deal, thinking that Norton will choose safety and reputation over cruelty. But Andy misunderstands the kind of man Norton truly is. Norton does not care about justice. He does not care about truth. He only cares about control. Andy is too valuable to him. If Andy leaves, the money laundering system collapses. The warden's profits disappear. His power weakens. Norton looks at Andy not like a human being but like property that belongs to him. Instead of helping Andy, Norton becomes furious. He sends Andy to solitary confinement for a month, a punishment so harsh that it shocks the other inmates. The men whisper about it, saying they have never seen someone punished for that long. As Andy sits alone in darkness, the prison begins to realize something. Andy might actually be innocent. And if the system is willing to crush an innocent man, then none of them ever had a chance. While Andy is in solitary, something small but meaningful happens. Tommy receives a letter from the Board of Education saying he passed the exam. He earned his diploma. A guard tells Andy through the door of solitary, and Andy smiles slightly in the darkness. Even while suffering, Andy feels proud. He helped someone succeed. Shawshank cannot erase that. It is one victory the prison cannot steal. But Norton is not finished. One night, Tommy is escorted outside to meet privately with the warden. Tommy thinks this is good news. He believes the warden wants to help Andy. Norton asks Tommy if the story is true and if Tommy would be willing to testify. Tommy eagerly says yes. He is excited because he thinks he is doing the right thing. Norton smiles, acting friendly, almost fatherly. Then he nods to Captain Hadley. Hadley raises his gun and shoots Tommy dead, right there in the night. Tommy's body collapses, and his hope dies with him. In one cold moment, Norton removes the threat and protects his own corruption. Later, Norton visits Andy in solitary and tells him a lie. He claims Tommy tried to escape and Hadley had no choice but to shoot him. Andy knows the truth. He knows Tommy was murdered. Andy's face hardens, and something inside him changes. The warden expects Andy to stay obedient, but Andy is no longer afraid. Andy tells Norton that he is done. He says everything stops and he refuses to work for him anymore. For the first time, Andy directly challenges the warden. Norton responds with pure cruelty. He threatens Andy's only achievements. He says he will shut down the library, burn the books, and take away everything Andy built. He threatens to move Andy to a different part of the prison filled with the most violent inmates, men who will destroy him. Norton reminds Andy that he has power, and Andy has nothing. Then Norton orders Andy to another month in solitary confinement, forcing him back into darkness to break his spirit. Andy spends 2 months in solitary, longer than anyone expected. When he finally comes out, he looks disheveled and exhausted. His face is pale, his eyes are distant, and his movements are slow. Red is terrified. Red has seen men come out of solitary with nothing left inside. Red worries Andy is suicidal. Red hears rumors that Andy asked another inmate for a rope, and that fear grows stronger. Red tries to talk to Andy, but Andy's mood is strange. He is calm, almost peaceful, like a man who has accepted something. Andy tells Red about a place called Zihuatanejo, a small beach town on the Pacific coast of Mexico. Andy describes it like a dream. He talks about warm sand, blue water, and a sky that never seems to end. He says it is a place where a man can disappear and start over. Red listens, confused because Andy's words sound like fantasy. But Andy keeps talking, and for a moment, Red sees a different Andy. Not the quiet banker, not the prisoner, but a man who still remembers what freedom feels like. Andy also tells Red about a memory from his past. He talks about a farm in Buxton, Maine, and a large oak tree near the end of a stone wall. Andy says that if Red ever gets out, he should go to that field and look for a certain black stone. Under that stone, Andy says there will be something important. Red doesn't understand why Andy is telling him this now, but Andy speaks with seriousness, like he is leaving behind a map. Andy makes Red promise. Red hesitates, but he promises because he cares about Andy, and he doesn't want Andy to lose hope. The next day, Shawshank wakes up like any other day. The guards do their roll call. Prisoners respond. Numbers are counted. But when they reach Andy's cell, there is no answer. The guards open the door, expecting to find him sleeping or hiding. Instead, the cell is empty. Panic spreads instantly. In Shawshank, prisoners don't just disappear. The guards search the prison. They check the yard. They check every corner. But Andy is gone. Warden Norton storms into Andy's cell in rage. He looks around, furious, confused, humiliated. Then he sees the poster on Andy's wall. In anger, Norton throws a rock at it. The poster tears, and behind it, a dark hole is revealed. Norton freezes. The truth hits him like a gunshot. Andy didn't just run away. Andy planned this for years. Behind that poster is a tunnel carved into the prison wall. Andy has been digging his escape in secret, little by little, for almost 20 years, using the small rock hammer Red brought him. Every day, Andy chipped away at the wall, hiding the dirt, covering the hole, and never letting anyone suspect. The posters were not just decoration. They were camouflage. They were Andy's shield. The night before, Andy crawled through the tunnel, squeezing through tight spaces, scraping his hands, pushing forward through darkness. At the end of the tunnel, he reached a sewage pipe. To escape Shawshank, Andy had to crawl through filth, through waste, through a long pipe filled with disgusting water and human sewage. It was a nightmare, but Andy didn't stop. Finally, he broke through the end of the pipe and came out into the open air, drenched, filthy, and exhausted. Then, under the stormy sky, Andy stood up, raised his arms, and felt freedom for the first time in decades. It was like being reborn. But Andy's escape was not only about running away. Andy also took something with him. He took the warden's suit, shoes, and most importantly, the prison's financial records, including evidence of the money laundering scheme. Andy didn't just want freedom. He wanted justice. He wanted to destroy the people who had used him and kept him trapped. Andy travels to Portland, Maine, and walks into the Maine National Bank. He uses the identity he created, Randall Stevens. He has all the documents needed. He looks clean, confident, and professional, like the banker he once was. The employees treat him with respect, because on paper, he is real. Andy withdraws the money the warden has been hiding. He gets a cashier's check, then continues visiting other banks, collecting the rest. By the time he is done, Andy has taken around $370,000, money that belonged to Norton's corrupt operation. Then Andy sends the evidence to the police and the press, exposing Shawshank's corruption for the whole world to see. Back at Shawshank, the consequences hit fast. The police arrive. The prison is surrounded. Captain Hadley is arrested. The guards who thought they were untouchable suddenly look terrified. Warden Norton realizes everything is collapsing. He tries to act strong, but he is trapped. He runs to his office, desperate, knowing his reputation and power are finished. With nowhere to run, Norton takes his own life, ending it before the law can punish him. Shawshank, the place that crushed men for decades, finally faces its own punishment. After Andy's escape, Red is left behind with mixed emotions. He is shocked, proud, and deeply sad all at once. Andy was his friend. Andy was the one man who made Shawshank feel less hopeless. Now Andy is gone. Red thinks about Andy's words, about Warden, about the oak tree in Buxton. For the first time in years, Red feels something dangerous inside him again: hope. In 1967, Red is called to another parole hearing. This time, he does not pretend. He does not use fancy words. He does not give them a speech he thinks they want to hear. Red tells the parole board the truth. He says he regrets what he did. He says he wishes he could go back and change his choices. He talks about how the word rehabilitated feels like a made-up word, something people use to sound important. Red is not trying to impress them anymore. He is simply being honest. And for the first time, the parole board grants him parole. Red walks out of Shawshank, and the outside world feels strange. The sunlight looks different. The air feels too open. The streets are loud. Cars move fast. People rush everywhere. Red is sent to a halfway house, just like Brooks was. He gets a job at a supermarket, bagging groceries. Every day feels like he is acting in someone else's life. He follows strict rules, and he feels like he is still trapped. The walls may be gone, but the prison is still inside his mind. Red begins to fear that he will end up like Brooks, unable to handle freedom. Red visits the spot where Brooks carved "Brooks was here," and he adds his own message beneath it. He understands Brooks now more than ever. Red feels the same fear, the same loneliness, the same pressure. He considers giving up. But then he remembers Andy. He remembers the promise he made. And he decides that even if hope is scary, it might be the only thing worth living for. Red breaks parole and leaves the halfway house. He knows it is illegal, but he doesn't care. He believes nobody will chase an old man too hard. Red hitchhikes and travels to Buxton, Maine, searching for the place Andy described. He finds the stone wall. He finds the field. He sees the large oak tree. Red stands there quietly, feeling like he has stepped into Andy's memory. Then he finds the black stone Andy mentioned. Red lifts it, and underneath, there is a small box. Inside the box is money and a letter from Andy. Andy's words are simple but powerful. Andy tells Red to come find him. Andy says he needs someone who can get things because he has a project. Red smiles through emotion because he understands what Andy is really saying. Andy is offering him a new life. Andy is offering him friendship, purpose, and freedom. Red takes the money and follows Andy's instructions. He travels to Fort Hancock and crosses the border into Mexico. The journey is long, but Red keeps going. He rides buses, walks through unfamiliar places, and feels the fear of being caught. But he also feels something else growing inside him: excitement. For the first time in decades, Red is not living day by day in survival mode. He is moving toward something. He is moving toward a future. Finally, Red reaches Warden. The ocean is bright and endless. The sky is wide and open. The air is warm. Red looks around, almost unable to believe such a place exists. Then, in the distance, he sees a man working near a boat. The man turns, and Red recognizes him instantly. It is Andy Dufresne. Andy is alive. He is free. He is smiling. Andy walks toward Red, and Red walks toward Andy. Two friends, reunited after years of pain and separation. They embrace on the beach, and in that moment, everything Shawshank tried to destroy is proven wrong. The prison could not break them. The system could not erase their humanity. Andy's hope survived, and it saved Red too. Andy and Red stand together by the ocean, looking out at the water. It is not just a happy ending. It is a victory. It is proof that freedom is possible even after decades of darkness. Andy's story shows that patience, intelligence, and determination can defeat even the strongest walls. Red's story shows that no matter how long you've been lost, it is never too late to choose hope. And that is why The Shawshank Redemption is more than just a prison movie. It is a story about survival. It is a story about friendship. It is a story about injustice and corruption, but also about the power of the human spirit. It reminds us that hope is not a weakness. Hope is strength. Hope is what keeps a man alive when everything else is taken away. Because in the end, as Andy proved, some birds are not meant to be caged. Their feathers are just too bright. If you like this video, don't forget to hit the like button, share your thoughts in the comments, and subscribe for more gripping movie explanations like this.